Epic Fails. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, that legendary dribbler, Mr. Angus Deayton.
Good evening and welcome to World Cup Epic Fails, a celebration of glorious failure and magnificent misdemeanour, guaranteed to do to the World Cup in a single hour what it took David Moyes an entire season to do to Manchester United. Yes, as we all know, in the World Cup there can be only one winner, but luckily for us, there can be many, many losers. And tonight we're going to honour just a few of them. So what exactly is an epic fail? Well, rather than explain it, why don't we just let Diana Ross show us all.
Calamity. With the kick-off between the opening ceremony, and that's dropped it right in the khaki again. What a ridiculous goal!
No chocolate!
So, you get the idea. If it resulted in shame, humiliation or actual bodily harm, we'll be commemorating it tonight. This year, of course, the World Cup will be held in Brazil, in some of the world's finest half-completed stadiums. Everyone's there. Argentina, Germany, Spain, Italy. But in Brazil, they're focusing on the vital clash that everyone's waiting for, the police versus the drug gangs. Roy Hodgson has chosen his squad to win the World Cup. He's gone for Brazil, or failing that, Germany. He's also announced the England squad, average age 11, who've had their jabs against malaria, yellow fever and being bitten by Luis Suarez. And now they're ready. Indeed, who could doubt that when they return, they'll be holding something high above their head in triumph, their duty-free allowance. But we're not the only ones who are looking forward to the World Cup. In Brazil, the party's already started. I have no idea what those banners say, but everyone looks jolly excited. I remember Rio's only ever one letter away from riot. Obviously, it's a worry for English fans. Carry on like that, and there'll be nothing left for them to trash. Sadly, there have been concerns about crime levels in Brazil's cities, and the media have been keen to canvass opinion on the topic.
É, pior que é, né? Mas eu nem...
Veja de novo o flagrante. Por reflexo, cheguei a correr atrás do ladrão, mas logo parei.
The ugly face of Brazil there. There have been unsightly scenes in Rio, but on the pitch, the Brazilians are famous for their sexy brand of football.
Oh, and Rivellino angled away. Lorimer, but he's got to go alone. Kenny Dalglish, pulled by Rivellino, and Rivellino's going to get dropped. And Luis Pereira really went down.
It's like watching Brazil. Hack lumps out of Scotland. And they're just as famous for their sexy brand of fans.
That's one of Brazil's richest men. He made his money from the tooth fairy.
Still, just what you need at Carnival, a man who can open beer bottles with his teeth. Now, an essential ingredient of any World Cup is the lunatic fan, and they're much funnier if they're foreign. So we start with not so much an epic fail as an epic fall.
Ela é minha menina.
Brazil.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Number
Soccer is for fun, for offensive play, not for defensive play like Italy or Sweden.
Yeah,
It's been a long wait for you Brazilian fans, hasn't it?
I am not from Brazil, I am from India.
Spanish dominated. That was felt in the crowd where there was quite a lot of booing, and especially of all the yellow card.
Now, question. What's the first thing that pops into your head when you think of Romania? That's right, fun. All too aware of this national stereotype, the crazy Romanian team at France '98 decided that they would bond at the hairdressers.
Oddly enough, this is exactly like a nightmare Nigel Farage once had.
The Romanian team were universally mocked, quite rightly. So only a complete idiot would have followed in their footsteps. Meet Scotland's Craig Burley.
Fortunately, Craig spared the crowd 90 minutes of having to look at him by getting himself sent off after just 54.
Handsome chap, isn't he? And just think, if Craig Burley and that Brazilian fan combined teeth, they just about have a full set between them. Of course, footballers all too often forget that their role models sport a ridiculous hairstyle, and pretty soon others will follow suit, mentioning no particular Beckhams.
Sadly, as it turned out, David wasn't the last of the Mohicans.
My hair, I can do what I want with it.
But even that looked cool compared with this kid.
He's put himself through the embarrassment of going prematurely bald to look like his idol Sven-Göran Eriksson. He chose the England coach's receding style, complete with specs, when his class were asked to dress up as someone famous.
I think that's what you call a schoolboy error. Now, because the World Cup brings together so many different nations, this can give English players untold problems with all sorts of languages, in particular, English.
The front position is interesting. Gary Lineker's obviously had a bit of a problem with his... and Beardsley, Kevin used to play with him up at... I think Mexico will suit him, because you can't go on those long runs, and Lineker likes him in behind, and I think the likes of Beardsley will do great out there, especially if he can get it to his feet.
I think we got a month to get you to say Lineker properly for a start.
Stephen, could you tell us what's the most important and most difficult game to you was before?
I'm listening to it. I'm listening to football.
So that brings us to the end of our programme. Now let's have a look at the Cup Soccer, the Cup Song.
The legendary Dickie Davies there, always able to think on his feet, even when they're planted firmly in his mouth. And on the subject of people babbling incoherently, here's the late, great England manager Bobby Robson, failing epically at a press conference in Portugal. Remember, Bobby worked at Porto, in Portugal, where they speak Portuguese, for over 2 years.
No Benfica. Primeira parte, duas equipas igual. Grand job, duas equipas, attack, defence. No difference. 10 jogadores, 11 jogadores. Segunda parte, 6 oportunidades. 6 oportunidades. Fala equipa intervalo, muita coragem, dress contra dress, 1-0, ok. Goal, 1-1. No George Costa bank.
Answers on a postcard. So, something of a relief when a World Cup report comes along featuring a shockingly young Eamon Holmes.
The odds may well be 66-1 for Northern Ireland winning the World Cup, but statistics do little to dampen the enthusiasm of the experts who gather in the local pubs. What to do right after the Spanish game Friday night?
I want no!
Would worry you at all if we met England in the semi-finals?
At all, I know. Just have to beat them the same way as we've done in Spain.
The views there of the Ulster public.
A bumbling, incomprehensible Irish idiot interviewing some pub goers. Of course, during the World Cup, every host nation goes football crazy. And back in '82, Ron Atkinson discovered that Spanish kids really love their football. Or, to be more accurate, they really love your football.
You know, you'll see the Maradonas of the world and people like that. They will all have started in conditions not too dissimilar to this. One of the things it teaches them, you know, playing under such bad conditions underfoot, is the fact that very often they have to play the ball out the air. Having said that, you know, these sort of grounds, these sort of pitches do have the drawbacks. You can't really imagine that happening at Old Trafford, can you? I know, they've got a problem. They've got a problem here. It's a very, very unusual ball boy. The interesting thing to see is now whether the ball boy is friendly with them or not.